Hello, my wonderful people. Welcome to my channel. We are doing the intimacy in Gana mismatch, which leads to discord and which might lead to clashes. This time around, I'm putting the moon's woman in Magha Nakshatra and the man's moon in Anuradha Nakshatra in Scorpio, the 410 dynamic. But before that, just a sidebar. From the Jyotish lens perspective, there is no such thing as an ideal relationship. There is no such thing like that. Everything requires a conscious engagement. Everything requires you to know what you are first. That's why Atmakaraka in Jaimini system is always given the highest marks, whereas Darakaraka or the spouse characterization is given the least. The planet with the least points is Darakaraka, which is the spouse. You're not here to necessarily understand the spouse from the Jyotish lens. You are here to first understand yourself. Even if you just understand yourself and the spouse doesn't give a damn about all these things, thinks all of this is lala BS, at least you know yourself and you know even the other person's chart, right? You can understand where they function from. So, at any rate, what I'm trying to say is even understanding yourself and your spouse's chart, and if you are the only one doing this among the two of you, you are in a greater position of empowerment, isn't it? That's the beauty of Jyotish. And you will appreciate where you stand in relation to it. So it gives you in a position of power. You feel empowered enough to make a choice. Empowered for what? You need to make a choice whether you're going to stick around with the person or leave and go. And maybe next time make wiser choices. It's all okay from Jyotish perspective. Jyotish does not require you to be endlessly in some torture chamber of a relationship either. It says you're just here for your sake. Whatever you're doing, do it consciously. Understand it to the full depth of your capacity. Again, the caveat, the danger there is people try to understand half stuff. People just want to know the convenient part of astrology. Jyotish is not convenient astrology, folks. It is highly complex and it is highly shining a light which is so bright on what you are and what you're not, and what the other person is, what the other person is not. So it'll at least stop your wishful thinking and living in a fantasy land of some kind. That's one of the things Jyotish will definitely give you. It doesn't matter which area of life you tend to explore. Okay, so let's get back here. She is a Rakshas Gana in Magha Nakshatra, and his moon is placed fourth position from hers, which is in Devgana in Anuradha. Now, why this will lead to certain kind of a dynamic. Relationship is a dynamic. Do you want to make it work? Does the other person want to make it work? Now, it's another story. That you have to see the personal dynamics of that. Where are they in their evolution? Could be. You could do a match. You could learn to work this consciously. But there have to be lots of attributes taken into consideration. Lot of allowance made for the other person. You cannot change the other person. Be very careful of this. Because typically, men and women tend to get into relationships with a hidden idea. I'm going to change this person to match what I like. In any term, physical, mental, emotional, any term. That's not going to work. That's your foolish fantasy, nothing more. Everybody is unique. Everybody is going through their unique dashas, mahadashas. Everybody's planets are unique. Divisional charts are unique. Jyotish is multidimensional in nature. It is not binary like Western astrology is. Everything is not black and white, good or bad. It has got multiple layers. You might say in another language, Jyotish will give you good and the bad and the ugly all at once. What are you going to do with it? Every planet has a good and a bad and ugly side to it. There is no one tune being played in the cosmos, according to Jyotish. This is a power containment pairing, not equal intensity but regulated intensity, mental level match. So she is, Magha is definitely, she has ego, a lot of it. She wants to have a command oriented thinking. She is a hierarchical worldview. Instinctively, she's authoritative, decodes fast, expects alignment. There's a lot of expectation, Rakshas Ganas. Her mind asks, can you hold my strength without flinching? His mind, on the other hand, wants integrative, reconciliating thinking. Looks for harmony over dominance. It's Devgana Anuradha Nakshatra. Seeks ethical, emotionally fair outcomes, slower and more reflective decisions. Anuradha is slow to bond. So, what are the discord zones where the friction shows up here? She assumes leadership, he prefers shared consensus. Totally different approaches. She speaks in absolutes, he speaks in nuance. She expects obedience, he expects emotional buy ins. If unconscious, she feels he's too soft or slow. He feels she's too forceful, uncompromising. And then, if this kind of a partnership plays out as unconsciously, he will end up labeling her as a narcissist who's totally self centered. Rakshasa Ganas are self centered to the max. It's a tamasic nakshatra, all the nine of them. She must learn restraint in expression. He must learn assertive articulation, not passive harmony. He also needs to assert himself. Sort of, you're asking the Devana to become tamasic. It's a stretch. It's really a stretch. This is a core karmic test of this pairing. She feels safe when loyalty is unquestioned, emotional access is exclusive, the bond feels sealed. His emotional nature is one of emotionally being sensitive and porous, gentle tone of acceptance and reassurance, avoids emotional aggression, bonds through trust and emotional safety, withdraws under pressure, and Magha can give a serious amount of pressure. So, what is the emotional discord presented? This is where most breakups occur. Her intensity overwhelms his nervous system. Again, I have spoken of this in the other ones also. It's all about your nervous system dysregulation. His emotional withdrawal triggers her control instinct. She escalates, he shuts down. She escalates more. Dominance, withdrawal, emotional pressure, silence. You see how this can go south very fast. It's like a downward spiral. So the correction mechanism, if at all they choose, both should choose in this case. In a Devgana Manusha Rakshasagana pairing, you have to have conscious partners who are willing to go this distance for both sides solving. There's nothing like one hand clapping. You need both partners to be in the game fully. Then it could work. She must regulate intensity consciously. He must not disappear emotionally just to keep the pace. What about sexual match? She has a very strong libido, dominant presence, like the woman on top. Typically needs desire mirrored clearly. Sexuality equals bonding plus ownership. She's aroused by confidence, intensity, and exclusivity. Whereas his energy is soft, his emotion first and arousal later. Needs emotional permission, touch sensitive, responsive. All the finer qualities belong to the Devganas. Shuts down under pressure or force. So, where is sexual discord coming in? She initiates too forcefully and he freezes. He waits for emotional alignment and she feels rejected. See how quickly the drive comes to play here of the Ganas. That's what I want to bring you here, just to give you a full on awareness. She reads his gentleness as a lack of desire. He reads her intensity as aggression. Correction mechanism. If at all you want to go there, both must go here. She must slow initiation. He must express verbally the desire, not just feel it. So, what's the final truth here? This relationship works when Rakshasa power is contained, not unleashed. Devgana sensitivity is expressed, not suppressed. Intensity is regulated and not denied. This relationship would fail when she dominates emotionally, when he disappears emotionally, and power replaces intimacy. See how quickly things can go south with Rakshasa Devgana pairing. Next, let's see with Punarvasu. Because as you can see over there, Punarvasu is in the 11th position. We'll take Punarvasu in Gemini. Okay? Let's see that in the next. Keep watching. Now let's take the pairing with his moon being in Punarvasu, which is 11th position from her moon, and Her moon is third position from him, so it's a 11-3 dynamic. And her moon is in Magha Nakshatra, his moon is in Punarvasu Nakshatra in the 11th place, not necessarily ascendant 11th house. Okay. Here's another tip, and this needs to be examined on a chart to chart basis. This is not a general rule. Don't start applying all these rules, generally speaking. Mars, we had not considered Mars in the intimacy dynamic, isn't it? Because Mars for me is just a passion planet. It's just interested in physical copulation factors and not intimacy factors. Fine. That being the case, the moon for the Devgana, you're trying to match Dev and a Rakshasa, which is in itself a bad thing. You shouldn't go there. If you can avoid it at all costs. That's the best suggestion of mine. But if you are married and if you have a partner like this, which is most dominantly the case from the relationship cases I have got, because what tends to happen, people don't go to astrologists when things are going fine. It's like you don't go to a doctor when you're feeling well. You go only when you're sick. So people tend to come to astrologists, like myself or others, only when there's something is gone south, isn't it, in their relationship in this case. So they come to astrologists with a problem in mind, a relationship problem in this case, saying, dude, this is not working, help me out here. What are we supposed to do? What am I getting wrong? And all kinds of questions. Questions can be any number. But if I start examining the chart, I would hope in this case that this guy's Mars over here, since his moon is in Devgana, is in Rakshasagana. You see where I'm coming from? I'm hoping this fellow's Mars is in Rakshasagana and her Mars is in Devgana. There's a chance. We have to see details, of course. It might not necessarily be the case. It is on a case-to-case basis only. Every single chart among the 8 billion are unique. There is no repetition. Nature does not allow repetition. There's no point in creator creating two people of the same type. Creator believes in variety. Look at nature, for example. Okay, right, back to this dynamic. Now let's examine what this yields. So first of all, this is 11-3 dynamic, that is power and presence versus communication and adaptation. That's a general signature for 3 11s. This is not a dominance containment bond. This is a power circulation bond. So her mind thinks in terms of authority, hierarchy, and certainty. Magha Nakshatra. Very strong. This is how it should be. Very dominant personality. Mentally decisive, sometimes inflexible. Sometimes I would say all the time. Orientation towards status, recognition, and long-term positioning. Low tolerance for indecision or scattered thinking. She's very decisive. And in this case, she has a vision and she wants him to amplify it. 11th position. She asks the question, can you amplify my vision or will you dilute it? His mind, on the other side, thinks in options, dialogue, multiple pathways. Punarvasu thinks in many options. More of an options person like NLP. Curious, exploratory, and idea-driven, mentally optimistic and regenerative. Sees life as something that can always be reset. Dislikes rigid mental frameworks. All Devganas dislike rigidity. Period. Doesn't matter which one. They always see life as a bunch of options. Okay, if this A is not possible, B is not possible, C, and you can go on up till Z. Mental discord zones. Let us just say discord zones because that's what I'm discussing here. This is where the trouble appears. She sees his flexibility as lack of seriousness. He sees her certainty as mental authoritarianism. She wants decisions, he wants discussion. She values finality, he values continuity. If unconscious, she becomes dismissive, he becomes evasive or ironic, might even become critical. Devganas tend to have a typical characteristic because of the aggression they face from Manushaganas or worse, Rakshasaganas. They tend to get very passive aggressive. They are aggressive, but they tend to get sarcastic. Always sarcastic undertones. And in relationship, sarcasm doesn't work, folks. Trust me. Her emotional nature, intense, bonds through loyalty, needs emotional certainty. She feels safe when emotional access feels prioritized. She needs to become the centerpiece here. That's what she's looking for. The bond feels chosen, not optional. Whereas he wants it emotionally light, processes feelings through conversation, needs emotional gentleness. Remember, it's the three dynamic also. Her position is third from him. So he needs communication, he needs dialogue, he needs gentleness. Devana avoids emotional heaviness or confrontational attitudes. So, where does the emotional discord begin? Her intensity overwhelms his Devgana nervous system. Again, we keep coming back to nervous system dysregulation that occurs in this Devgana Rakshasagana pairings. His emotional lightness triggers her insecurity. She pushes for depth. He diffuses for logic or humor. You hear this all the time in couples counseling, isn't it? He takes it very, very lightly when I am being very serious. What is that dynamic? It shows up in Jyotish. She reads this as emotional avoidance. This creates a polarity clash, intensity versus escape or perceived escape, I would call it. He's looking for something else. He's a Devana in this case. Where is the physical discord, sexual discord? All of them play out simultaneously, by the way. Physical, mental, emotional. You are one being, isn't it? She expects intensity, he offers softness. He wants playfulness, she wants depth. She may feel under desired. He may feel pressured. She must slow down the intensity. He must express desire verbally and consistently. So, this becomes a problem. This relationship could break down if she demands emotional depth on command. This is Leo, Moon in Leo, in Magha. Very commanding, authoritative kind of a person. He avoids emotional accountability. Power silences the dialogue. That's where relationships start to go silent. Why do relationships tend to go silent on one another over years? You must have seen lots of cases like this, I'm sure. Even your parents, for example. You need to be careful how you pair and what you pair when you consider Ganas in Jyotish. And that I would put it at the top of the list. Hierarchy, first Gana pair. Next, the numerological distance. Why don't I consider fifth position and ninth position, for example? That becomes a guru shishya kind of a thing. A teacher and student. You don't want one to become a teacher in the bedroom. No, no, no. That's not the objective. It should be a sort of communicative bond, kind of equal partnership. That's what we look for anyway. And yet the dynamic should be harmonious. That's why 1, 3, 4, 7, 10, and 11 position matching of moon, Jyotish says, is the best possible outcome. You are trying to consciously work towards a best possible, most harmonious, less challenging. You don't have to make your intimate partner the centerpiece of your life because you have other areas of life. You have work, you have friends, you want to enjoy life by yourself also, you want some privacy also. Why are you going around making intimacy the centerpiece of your life? That's not the objective here. Next one, I think I shall take some other Rakshasagana and wrap this part up. I'll see you in the next. Take care.